Deaths that changed history the most. Throughout history, certain deaths have changed the course of nations, altered the balance of power, and shaped the destiny of billions. These were not just the endings of lives, but turning points that redirected the flow of human history. Julius Caesar, 44 BCE. In the Ides of March in 44 BCE, Julius Caesar was assassinated in the Roman Senate. The conspirators believed that killing him would save the Republic, but it had the opposite effect. Rome plunged into civil war, and from the chaos rose Augustus, the first emperor. Caesar's death ended the Republic and gave birth to the Roman Empire, an institution that would shape Western civilization for centuries. Alexander the Great -323 Alexander the Great died in Babylon at the young age of 32. His empire stretched from Greece to India, but he left no clear successor. His generals divided the empire, creating powerful kingdoms that spread Greek culture across 3 continents. This Hellenistic era transformed science, art, language, and trade, leaving a legacy that still echoes today. Archduke Franz Ferdinand -1914 on June 28, 1914. Archduke Franz Ferdinand of Austria was assassinated in Sarajevo. His death triggered a chain reaction of alliances and hostilities that led directly to World War I. The war destroyed empires, redrew borders, and set the stage for World War II. A single gunshot reshaped the entire 20th century. King Louis XVI -1793 in January 1793, King Louis XVI of France was executed by guillotine. His death marked the point of no return for the French Revolution. It ended monarchy in France and gave birth to radical new ideas about citizenship, nationalism, and democracy. These ideas spread far beyond France, inspiring revolutions and shaping modern political thought. Abraham Lincoln, 1865 on April 14, 1865, President Abraham Lincoln was assassinated in Washington, D.C. Lincoln had preserved the Union through the Civil War and was preparing to guide the country into peace and reconciliation. His death left the nation without his steady leadership. Reconstruction became harsher, and the struggle for racial equality grew even more difficult. Lincoln's loss shaped the history of America for generations. Mahatma Gandhi, 1948 Mahatma Gandhi was assassinated on January 30, 1948, only months after India achieved independence. Gandhi stood for nonviolence, religious unity, and peace between Hindus and Muslims. His death deepened divisions in the new nation, but also strengthened his legacy as a symbol of freedom and moral resistance. Gandhi's ideas later inspired civil rights movements around the world. John F. Kennedy, 1963 on November 22, 1963, President John F. Kennedy was assassinated in Dallas. His youthful energy, his leadership during the Cold War, and his vision for America were cut short in an instant. His death shocked the world and created a lasting sense of loss and distrust.
It changed U.S. politics in the 1960s and left questions that still linger today. Martin Luther King Jr., 1968. On April 4, 1968, Martin Luther King Jr. was shot, and King had been the guiding voice of nonviolent protest in the civil rights movement. His assassination led to grief, riots, and anger across America. Yet his legacy lived on, shaping civil rights progress and inspiring movements for justice and equality around the globe. Joseph Stalin -1953. Joseph Stalin's death on March 5, 1953, ended an era of terror in the Soviet Union. His passing opened the door to new leadership and the beginning of de-Stalinization under Nikita Khrushchev. Stalin's death shifted the course of the Cold War and changed life for millions living under Soviet control. Steve Jobs -2011. Not every history-changing death comes from politics. On October 5, 2011, the world lost Steve Jobs, the visionary behind Apple. His passing marked the end of a creative era that reshaped technology, design, and culture. Jobs' influence on how we communicate, work, and live is still felt every day. The pattern of history. What makes these deaths so powerful? They happened at moments of fragility when individuals carried enormous influence and systems lacked stability. Their loss created a vacuum, and in that vacuum, the world was forced to change direction. Closing. Deaths can mark the end of an era, but also the beginning of something new. From emperors and kings to revolutionaries and visionaries, their passing reminds us of how deeply one life and one death can alter the story of humanity. Which of these deaths do you think changed history the most?